Status quo is the enemy.
We must think differently.
Get better, faster.
Companies don't change, innovate, and transform. People do. Welcome to Innovate for the Future. Listen in as Dirk drills down deep with leaders and innovators from within distribution and beyond who are disrupting markets and changing the way business is done. Those who are innovating for the future. Innovating for the future.
It's time to change the rules.
Become the disruptor rather than the disrupted.
We own the future.
Are you ready? You can create your future. You own your future. And your journey of innovating for the future begins now. With your host, Dirk Beveridge.
Hey, welcome back to episode number 13 of Innovate for the Future. I am Dirk Beveridge, your host, the author of Innovate, How Successful Distributors Lead Change in Disruptive Times, and also the founder of Unleash WD, the only innovation summit for distributors. Our fourth annual summit is going to be held September 16th and 17th in Chicago. You're going to want to check out all the details of this amazing 2 days at unleashwd.com. But let's jump into episode number 13 with our third conversation as we explore the innovative distributor model with Joe Nettemeyer, who's the president and CEO of Valin Corporation. You see, as Joe migrates his company to the future, he begins with two questions. Question number one, what do we stand for? Question number two, what is our purpose? You see, in a world where most distributors are trapped by sameness and commoditization, Valin stands apart with its value proposition that is captured in the statement, helping you achieve your goals. That means identifying where their customers struggle. Think about that. Identifying where their customers struggle and how Valin can help them overcome that struggle. It's not easy. It requires thinking and it requires commitment. The Valin value proposition is about organizing the business in a way that they help people meet their goals of progress and accomplishment. It's a unifying purpose that adds real and significant value. It's more than handling one transaction efficiently. It's more than saying nice things on the telephone. And true to this value proposition, true to this purpose, Joe wants to help you achieve your goals with what he shares in this amazing conversation. Let's jump right in with Joe. Hey, welcome back to Innovate for the Future. I'm thrilled that you are here. I am Dirk Beveridge, and we are with episode 13 of Innovate for the Future with Joe Nettemeyer, the CEO of Valin Corporation out of Sunnyvale and San Jose, California. Joe, thanks again for being here with our third episode together where we're going to be talking about the importance of value propositions. Joe, thanks for being here.
It's good to be here.
You know, Joe, as I was thinking about this conversation about the importance of value propositions, I'm thinking back to the conversation that we had 2 weeks ago when you talked about the access to everything. We live in a world where everybody, consumers, by the way, our customers, have access to everything, where there's an over and abundance and an oversupply of everything. I think your examples were of shirts, of big screen TVs, and of valves, and of process heating equipment, and everything else. So in this world where we have access to everything and this overabundance of supply, one of the things that we write about in the book Innovate is that many distributors are trapped in this world of sameness. As you look at the distribution landscape, as you look at the business landscape, do you agree with that statement that unfortunately too many of us are trapped in a world of sameness?
Absolutely. You know, we have a culture in many of the wholesale industries of being product focused, and we've had continuing product proliferation because product development has been mimicry, not creation. And when you go into a mimic mode, you commoditize and you diffuse the differentiation between yourselves and everyone else. And I think that we have to move past product because we have a lot of people. If you have 5 people that can make the same products, they've pretty much achieved quality parity or they're not in the game. So then it's who are they going to go to get that product? It's no longer product selling itself. And there are those that believe the product is still the be-all and end-all. And I differ with them. And the fact that that's not where the differentiation is anymore. You have to create value outside of the product to be a sustainable resource to your customers.
You bet. So let's talk about that, if you don't mind, Joe. So the creation of value outside of the product. If you know, so many of us are trapped in this world of sameness. I love how you called it, in this world of mimicry versus creation. What are the secrets? I don't know if there are secrets, right? But what have you found is imperative for leaders of businesses, for leaders of distribution firms to get into this mode of creation, of creating value beyond the product that we have on our warehouse? What should we be thinking about to be able to break from this very strong gravitational pull of mimicry?
You know, I think mimicry is always an easy escape. It's a last-minute thought. When somebody's trying to throw something on paper because they have to do something, it's much like a white paper that you have to deliver on by 5 o'clock this afternoon, and you started thinking about it at noon. The quality of the content is going to be arguably slim. And that is what I've seen in product development. And how do we create sustainability in the future? I think it goes back to our value proposition that we offer to the communities we serve, and that is helping you achieve your goals. If we're not aligned with goal achievement and we're not recognizing where customers are having pain points other than the transaction of buying a product, we begin marginalizing ourselves in their world, because their world is dealing with problems. Now, how do we solve problems? You know, how do we create value outside of that? Well, we can do it in the form of services, and those services can take many different forms. There can be field service, there can be warranty service, there can be inventory management services, there's educational services. I think as we are moving forward, there's going to be an analytics service that we can provide customers. And we have to migrate from waiting for the phone to ring to anticipating their needs. And we can do that with the technology that's available to us today, and information sharing, and data analytics, and providing our customers with unique experiences. As I tell our people, as we migrate to the Valin of the future, we have to be the benchmark for what people say are their best suppliers. And we have to identify where they're having their struggles, and we have to help them overcome the struggle. And that's pretty important in the value. It's not easy. You know, it requires thinking. It requires that you start on developing that value proposition now, not 5 hours before you got to do something.
The value proposition of Valin, if I heard you right, is articulated as helping you achieve your goals. Did I hear that right, Joe?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So tell us about that value proposition and why, in fact, it is a differentiating mantra, why it is a differentiating value proposition for you and your organization.
Well, as we've looked at developing the Team Valin concept, we said, what do we stand for? What's our purpose? And in earlier discussions, I shared with you that we have 4 primary constituencies. We have our employees, we have our suppliers, we have our customers, and we have our community. Now, how do we sustain relevance with those entities? I think was best defined by saying our purpose here is to help you collectively achieve your goals. And it was a unifying purpose. And it's not to handle one transaction efficiently. It's not to say nice things on the phone. It's about organizing our business in a way that we help people meet their goals of progress and meet their goals of accomplishment. And that's a tough thing to do, but you get rewarded for doing tough things well. You don't get rewarded for doing easy things poorly. And so look at your world, your personal buying experiences. How often are you disappointed? How often are you dealing with service business that make a mockery of service? Go call your data line providers and see how good they are at service. It takes you 15 minutes to scroll through their menu. There's no personal contact. And then when they do give you contact, there's someone that is only empowered to say no. And you have to find ways to empower people to provide a differentiated experience.
Interesting. So, Joe, in your mind, how does the value proposition, I love it, helping you achieve your goals, how does that differ from, many distributors' value proposition that says, the value we provide is to get you the right product at the right place at the right time, right? I mean, we've been talking about our ability to do that for years. Is there a difference between helping you achieve your goals and getting the right product at the right place at the right time?
I think parity has been achieved in getting the right product at the right time to customers. So that's an undifferentiated experience. That's an expectation now.
So we still must do it if we're going to help us achieve. If you're going to help me achieve my goals, part of what you better deliver is getting the right product at the right place at the right time. Is that right?
Well, that's table stakes. That's what gets you in the door. But what sustains your relationship, and it's that organization relationship, is how you bring your resources, your human resources, in solving problems to bear on their behalf. And it takes many different shapes and forms. So we provide engineering services now. We'll contract and help customers design. We've determined in certain product portfolios that instead of settling someone the components, we're doing assemblies now, and we're selling systems that solve problems. We're moving in field service. We're doing startup supervision and education and training. We're selling those services. But in doing so, when we're helping those people basically get their job done more efficiently, we're leaving a lasting legacy of, hey, they can go to these people and we can count on them. So that has to become our overreaching goal all the time. It's not, hey, cut your price. It's not being nice. Being nice is a prerequisite. Being nice doesn't win the game. Winning the game is helping people solve their problems and achieve their goals, reducing their pain points. That's a differentiator.
So let's talk a little bit about how, you talked about the importance of empowering your people to provide a differentiating experience. So can you give me an example? Can you tell me a story of how an individual at Valin has the ability, has been empowered to, in this world of sameness, in this world of call and hear a recorder say that you're important to us, but I'm going to put you on hold for the next 5 minutes, right? In that world where every salesperson walking in looks like the last person who just left. In this world of sameness, can you tell us a story about a Valin employee, a time when we did in fact provide this differentiating experience that was directly tied to helping you achieve your goals, helping the customer achieve their goals?
I don't think our differentiation is about an individual heroic effort. I think we celebrate those too much and never seek long-term sustainable solutions. I'd rather talk about how we've created a flexible team that organized around an opportunity that ended up solving a major problem, not only for our immediate customer, who was an OEM here in Silicon Valley, but the end user, who's a major manufacturer of flat panel television. Samsung was evolving their technology to expand the manufacturing from 60-inch flat screens to 80-inch. They were looking at a major investment in new capital equipment to do that. And we're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars. The limitation they had on their 60-inch production equipment was all of the sensing devices were hardwired. They started, AKT, Applied Komatsu, was looking at the development of a new tool, and it was going to be a big expense, and it was going to delay the launch of these 80-inch screens for an indefinite period. And they were talking with our sales representative, and he came back and said, they have a problem. And we looked at it, and we said, let's talk. We have a supplier that has brought some new technology into play in wireless sensing. So we took our application engineer and a design engineer and brought their people in. And we designed a retrofit package going to wireless sensors that allowed them to retrofit their existing 60-inch tools to be able to produce 80-inch flat panels. We organized a team around that, and it was a successful collaboration with our supplier. We assigned engineering resources. We had a dedicated engineering team that was writing the software, and we went from concept to installation of the first retrofit, and this went through proof of concept testing within 6 months. According to the AKT management team, it was the most successful product innovation they'd had in their history. The retrofit of all those tools, we sold about $3 billion worth of equipment, software, and engineering services versus $100 million. And Samsung met the production schedule to introduce a new product that sustained their product leadership in that area. And we did it at a much lower cost than it would have taken them to retrofit their entire factory. I think that's helping someone achieve their goals. And we pulled the team together. It was a collection of a cumulative individual efforts, not only by us, but by our supplier, Omron, to make it happen. And it was one of the most successful team collaborations that I've seen in my work history. But that's how we start building the differentiated experience. And today, whenever they have a challenge to that account, they call us. But it's about the team winning. It's not about individuals anymore. I think the old culture is dependent on, the Superman salesperson. It doesn't happen anymore. You've got to be able to pull together a super organizational effort quickly and efficiently if you want to differentiate yourself from the pack.
Boy, I think there's a huge lesson in that. I don't know if the listeners did, but I certainly did when you talked about providing that differentiating experience, right? I talked, hey, and I even asked you, right, give me that one person, give me that one superhuman performance. And you said, no, Dirk, that's not right. You got to look at it differently. That experience comes from the team. And I think it was last episode we talked, Joe, you talked about developing a culture from I to we. And in that story you just shared, I think you used the term we 20 times if you used it 10 times. So what I'm really taking from you is the value proposition. What you stand for at Valin, what you have found is going to create the sustainability going forward is, we capture it in the statement of helping you achieve your goals. But it really ties to that culture that we talked about in the last episode and ensuring that the entire team is committed to coming together, tearing down silos, collaborating, working together. That's within our four walls. That includes our suppliers, to really make that happen. And in this case, to drive that product launch on time within budget, so that they can not only launch that project on time within budget, but maintain that market dominance that they have built into their strategy. Did I capture that right, Joe?
You say it very well.
Well, I think it's phenomenal. Why do you think, Joe, businesses, distributors have a hard time really understanding what their customers' goals are? I mean, you put it out there, helping you achieve your goals. It suggests that we have a commitment to listen to the voice of the customer, probably both formally, informally. Why do you think that is differentiating, and which then says, why would so many distributors have a hard time really committing to listening to the voice of our customers?
I have to be, there are businesses that listen to their customers very well. And there are the businesses that grew up in a culture of promoting products. And at one time, those products were highly differentiated products. But today, they've been commoditized as manufacturing expertise has caught up.
Looking to break the gravitational pull of the status quo within your organization? Dirk Beverage is speaking across the country, helping companies like yours get better faster. Visit dirkbeverage.com to begin exploring how Dirk can craft the perfect presentation for your next meeting.
But today they've been commoditized as manufacturing expertise has caught up. So it's tough for them to walk away from what's worked. And what we've prized in the past was this super salesman who could talk about product. And whenever there was a downturn in business, the suppliers would all clamor, hey, we gotta do more training, product training. What we should have been doing was saying, we need to go talk to our customers and find out what their needs are. And I think we took the easy path. And the easy path was, if we create a whole lot of activity and look like we're doing something, that should get us through this downturn and we'll ride another upturn. But in a global economy that's running kind of flat, you can't rely on that economic lift anymore. You've got to find a way to differentiate, or you'll just get lost in the noise. If you're counting on one individual to carry you, they have a limited capacity, and they can't scale you to greater heights because they will max out the amount of effort they can put in. So you've got to get the cumulative effort, and we have to get the cumulative effort not only of our employees, but we have to be able to draw that cumulative support effort in from our suppliers to create a differentiated experience. Now, fortunately, we have some suppliers that are seeing the same thing, and they're moving rapidly in that mode. We have other suppliers that are clinging to yesterday, and I think that goes back to what we discussed previously, the culture eats strategy. There's the culture of the status quo. There's normalcy bias. This change is going to happen to everyone else, but not to us. And that is the trap of mediocrity. And you got to fight against falling into the trap of mediocrity. You've got to fight against that trend all the time.
And one of the questions you suggested that you use to help define your value proposition, Joe, was you mentioned the statement that you asked yourselves, what do you stand for, right? And it sounded like that was a question that as an organization you sat down and said, what is at stake? What is at stake in the ground that we're going to plant? That this is going to define who we are, the value we bring, and in fact, it's got to be bold enough that drives us outside of that pull to the status quo that you just suggested that so many of us, get pulled into. How important do you believe it is for leadership, for organizations, businesses, yes, for distributors, to really get serious about that question? What do we stand for?
I think it's very difficult because you have to, first of all, say, what do I want to accomplish? And then you got to sit down and say, what does it take to get there? And I think in a lot of organizations, you have what I call lifestyle organizations. People come in, they want to put their time in, do the work, and go home. And, as long as the business is throwing off enough money to support them in the lifestyle they like, they think they're doing well. And then they find that as things slowly diminish, they start wrestling with, I gotta, if I want to maintain my lifestyle, I've got to cut this and I got to cut that. And they stopped investing a long time ago.
Sorry, meaning they got to cut this and that in their business.
Yeah, they have to cut expenses so they can sustain their lifestyle. And they begin compromising their future to maintain their present. And that is a huge impediment. Business is like a plant. You gotta water it, you have to fertilize it, you have to prune it, you have to nurture it all the time. You just can't harvest it endlessly. If you're not maintaining a healthy, viable plant, it's not going to give you much enjoyment in the long term. And the same is true of a business. What are you doing to sustain your future, not serve your present? And that's a hard thing for people to escape because it's easy to get caught in the tyranny of the day-to-day activity, in the immediacy and not into thinking about what do I have to do. And change is painful. Growth is painful. And you have to give up things sometimes. And I think that's an important part for a leader. You've got to get past me, convenience and sustaining my lifestyle to we. How do we build a prosperous future that growth will give us more than we anticipated we'd get?
Yeah, no doubt about it. No doubt. So, Joe, I love this. So if we, if we're willing to get past that short-term pain, if you will, that change provides, if you will, or brings on, one of the things you said is, it's important not just to serve the present, but to harvest the future. And I want to take that all the way back in the last few minutes that we have here, Joe. I want to take that statement all the way back to one of the things you said when we started off this conversation. And one of the things you suggested was that you believe that the value proposition of the future is going to incorporate analytics into how it is we help, in your case, help your customers achieve their goals. Can you just tell me a little bit
of this company? And we've engaged them, and it's an interesting journey. I fall asleep at night in the chair trying to keep up with these young minds, and boy, that's a fresh and fertile ground, and they get me excited. I wish I was 20 years younger, but that's okay. My role in my company is to transition to the future. I see a bright and prosperous future in those individuals.
I do too, Joe. As I look at these millennials that you just talked about, I am optimistic as hell. I see brilliance out there. I see genius out there. I see people who want to make a difference. I see individuals who are attracted to companies who are willing to make a stand, and ask the question, what do we stand for? And the fact that you are putting millennials together on a team on something as important as analytics, as something as important as the digital strategy for your organization. Value propositions, I believe, are transitioning to where we really need to take a digital first strategy. And you just described to us the faith you've put in this team to develop, create their future of what this business needs to look like, how we need to deliver on our purpose of helping our customers achieve their goals through this digital strategy, putting it in their hands. I think there are a lot of lessons for our listeners. So, Joe, this has been, as always, an amazing conversation. I appreciate it so much. I really believe without a compelling value proposition, there is no change, there is no transformation, there is no innovation. And you've really helped us think through, from your perspective and at Valin, how you've allowed this value proposition to really drive change, transformation, innovation, and create that sustainable and relevance future. So, Joe, thank you so much. When we come back together for our next conversation, let's look at the fourth component part of the innovative distributor, and that is the business model. Now that we have this unique value proposition, we need to be sure that we can deliver upon that, and that requires that we rethink our business model. And I know you've been doing that over the years. So I look forward to talking to you on our next episode. And for now, Joe, thanks so much for being with us.
Own your future by downloading the transcript of today's show, reviewing the show notes, and participating in this episode's discussion thread at dirkbeverage.com. And while you're there, join our online community of leaders and innovators. Until next time, thanks for listening to Innovate for the Future with Dirk Beverage. Delivering a new voice, a new energy, and a new outlook.